In Outlander Season 7, Episode 4, the story focused on Jamie's son William as he found himself in trouble while on a mission for the British Army, with an unlikely friend coming to his aid. To chat all about it, we're joined by Charles Vaandarvart, who plays William on the show. But first, let's chat about the episode. Megan, welcome to Outlander Insider. How much did you love Episode 4?
I thought episode 4 was amazing. I'm loving seeing more of Jamie's son. Although I can't help it, I was slightly disappointed that they didn't quite get to Scotland yet. I'm definitely waiting for that later in the season.
We said this would happen. We said, go back on our previous chats. The road to Scotland never runs smooth.
Yeah, exactly. But I fell for it this time. I really thought we were going to see them at Lallybroch, but...
You thought it'd be like 6 months later and we'd just be in Lallybroch, like there's going to be no shipwrecks or no wars.
Yeah, like part of me just hoped that they were going to get back there and then it was going to pick up with Scotland. But I was still excited to see what happens with Jamie being conscripted.
Well, this does mean that we are one step closer to Jamie and William coming face to face, which I think, in terms of that they're on separate sides of the war. We've heard in the trailer that Jamie swore he'd never face his son in battle. It's inevitably gonna happen. This episode really did focus on William a lot and about how much his sort of identity is tied to like being British in the British Army, being a soldier, and he's very anti the American Revolution.
And I think seeing him with like young Ian and just kind of seeing how strong-minded he is, we're gonna see that he is like through and through a Frasier no matter what.
Exactly, yeah. Well, actually, we were able to chat to Charles Vaandarvart earlier this week, who plays William, and he was telling me about how he like sort of copies some of Sam Heughan's mannerisms as Jamie and stuff, so you can sort of see the connection of them being.
I'm gonna look for that.
Absolutely. So without any further ado, here is our chat. Well, we're talking about episode 4, obviously, which is a big one for William. He's got this journey. A lot has gone wrong. I was wondering, for you, what do you think motivates him as a character?
Man, I think a lot of it is the fact that he's quite naive early off in the season. He has these really romanticized ideas about war and violence and maybe exploration in America. I don't know why he left England. He had such a nice life in England. His mansion and nothing bad happened to him ever. And now he's just going to get hit with reality right away. Yeah, episode 4 is not very kind to him. And it doesn't get easier because there's obviously the Revolutionary War to come right after this. I think he's really motivated. A lot of it is his identity because he is a lord and his kind of identity in England is based on his position and who he thinks his father was and the land that he owns. That will definitely come into question this season later on.
Love that so much that it's like he could have just stayed in his mansion, but no, it's like branch through the arm, let's go.
His life would have been so good if he stayed in England, I mean, maybe he would have really learned the realities of the world, though. You have to do some growing when you're that age, so...
By the way, your accent just shocked me. Your accent is so good in the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. Oh, that's the biggest compliment. I'm not very good at accents, so I did a lot of work when I was there. Carol Ann was the on-set dialect coach, and she was just fantastic and helped me out a bunch. But I'm from Canada, so I'm up here. Hello from Canada.
The role that we're in here, Jamie's son, it is a big role. We've seen him on and off as a child and a teenager and stuff, but we've been waiting a long time to meet him properly. So what was the audition process like? I mean, presumably you had to show you could be a very stuffy Brit.
Yeah, it was a funny audition process because this was in the middle of COVID. So, I was over in Canada and I just sent out a tape. I wasn't sure if I was going to hear anything, but I really love the show, so it was always in my mind. After I almost gave up hope, they asked to do a director session. It was over Zoom, doing all these like crying scenes and all these really tense screaming scenes. And I remember like there was a tear coming down my face, and I just like grabbed my pillow from my childhood bedroom and just like wiped my face off. It was not very professional.
A big part of the show and the books is that there are a lot of similarities between Jamie and William. So, I mean, was there anything that you tried to work on with your character to make that similarity clear to the viewers?
Well, I started hitting the gym a lot more because I don't know if you've seen Sam, but he's a pretty big guy. I didn't want to do too many of Jamie's mannerisms because William is his own person and he would have mannerisms from Lord Dungrey, for example, as well. But he kind of does a thing with his finger when he's thinking. He like does that or on the gun. We incorporated a little bit of that. And but the broad strokes are William has that kind of fire and that kind of indomitable will that Jamie has, and we see that through this season. He doesn't give up.
You both get into trouble very easily, so it's a gruesome one for you. Like I thought I was all right with the gruesome stuff, and I was watching it on the big screen, and I was struggling with it. So I mean, how did you film all of that? Was it fun?
It was fun, but it was gruesome for me too, weirdly. We did an arm cast of my arm, and they basically made this sleeve that they put over my real arm that looked
grim.
Yeah, and it looked exactly like my arm. And then they put this massive wound on it, this impalement of my arm. And it, to my brain, I think, because it looked so realistic, I got these like weird shooting pains in my arm just because I think my brain was just so confused and didn't know what was going on because there was this gruesome injury that was supposedly right on my arm.
In the episode, it's an odd pairing. You and young Ian find each other, but it's nice to see sometimes. It's nice to see characters that you don't expect to interact.
Fantastic. We hit it off right away, and he was very kind to kind of show me around Glasgow when I was there because I didn't know anybody. But in that scene too, it's kind of funny because William doesn't know that they're related, that they're cousins, but Ian does. So there is this kind of exchange of warmth, and there is some kind of familiarity to it. I don't know if William knows what it is. Ian definitely does. They're both about to go into this war, and they're both really willing to fight for the people that they love. So there's a lot of common ground for the two of them.
You're on the side of the baddies as far as America's concerned. So what was that like? We have some different opinions, but whatever.
Right. The rest of the cast basically is on the other side of the war. And I think that just goes to show how strong William's identity is tied to the English hierarchy and the monarchy, and the how painful that'll be to realize that maybe his position in that whole structure is illegitimate. So when he finds out that Jamie's his dad, I don't think he's going to be too thrilled about that. I don't want to give too much away about what happens, later in the season, but we definitely do, have scenes together. We definitely do meet at some point.
Interesting. And have you been reading the books? Like, are you done? Are you caught up?
I'm not completely caught up. I'm a slow reader, but I got to do some more reading for season 8, definitely.
Right, exactly. And I mean, how has the reaction been to being on the show? Because I know you've been in big shows before, but I feel like Outlander's fandom kind of hits different. It's very, very passionate. Obviously, you're coming back for season 8, which is amazing. Last season though, crazy.
Yeah, absolutely insane. It's gonna be bittersweet. I mean, I can't imagine what the rest of the cast is feeling because they've had these characters for so long. They have such a relationship with this show. But only being in the show for a year, it's gonna be really, really sad to say goodbye to William. But I think the one really great thing about knowing that the show is ending after the 8th season is that we can end it off the way that we want to, in the right way, and we can give a proper send-off to these characters. So.
What can you tell us what's coming up next for William? Give us some hints.
Things don't get easier for William, that's for sure. Like I said, he should have stayed in the mansion. He should have stayed in England. He had a great life. But there's a lot of growing, and I think that's essential because right now he is naive and he doesn't necessarily understand the realities of the world and how things work for other people. He's been so stuck in his little mansion in England. He doesn't really understand what things are like for other people. He's so privileged and so wealthy. So I think in the end he comes out of this a better person.
Good, yes, good. You need to get yourself out of there sometimes, out of the mansion.
Exactly, yeah.
The fire. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Outlander Insider. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and head over to hellomagazine.com for more info on Outlander. And we will see you next week. Bye.